had a dose of some uniqueness last week, and now we have some more solo exhibitions for your viewing pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us on Arthouse. I'm Melinda Akinlami. On our lineup today, this contemporary artist is telling us the things the madman saw in his solo show in Lagos. Then in another part of the commercial city, we see dreams, disruptions, and actualities. I love the way artists coin the titles of their solos these days, and we'll tell you more about them after this masterstroke.
Our wordsmith for today is titled Masterstrokes by Onotola Iriayoyimika. Masterstroke for leisure play. On the faces of the earth hidden above. Tonight we're going for dawn funeral. Misery looks contemptuous to beauty. Fattened fleshes in tattered rags of riches. King's gold jewelry, stouts on slave neck, and the faces of gods stethoscopic in souls swift to safe. Dark obsequies for light resuscitation, black beauty hibernates, walking tirelessly to free visions, from the peaceful hands of fellowship thrust into the earth that's for trust made. Sunshades that begged eyes for recognition, two hearts cling for love and still courting lust. The day is best savour in anticipation of the night. We have seen the light, frivolous to fall, yet rising for another funeral. This life by God's hands upholds, left dangling for devotional calls, like the testis of the mating bull, in the cathedral, religiously built and not salvation.
Thanks, Ire, our wordsmith, for this week. I mentioned that artists have been dishing us intriguing solo exhibitions, and today we have The Things the Madman Saw, an exhibition by Joseph Egbede in Lagos.
The title is enough to awaken anyone's curiosity, but the artist, Joseph Egbede, who crafted it for his latest solo exhibition, wanted the conversation to start right from the caption, and a book inspired him to toe the line.
The title for this exhibition is The Things the Madman Saw, inspired by a book written by my friend Tunde Yateru called The Day the Madman Knew. The book was a political satire that sort of shows what happens when we allow bad governance take over a community, country, or any institution, in all honesty. So 2020 gave everybody, I think, a lot of time to think about issues and think about things. And to me, I started to see that people across the world were beginning to speak up for issues in governance that they would otherwise not have considered. And then I sort of localized it just down to like Africa, which is where I live. And thought about the things that actually happen on a day-to-day basis that we actually take to be normal, and that are totally not normal at all. And then it made me to reflect on the fact that, so like for every Nigerian, you walk on the road on a daily basis. I think you see a mad person at least on an average once a week, just walking on the road. And then you ask yourself, where is this person going to? how does this person think? What does this person see? And to me, I think that a person who has those kind of issues is in a constant hallucination of some sort. And that reality is what's normal to him, but to the rest of us is not normal. So when you think about the ills in the society that we live in, that are even more present than what you consider to be a sane society, it just shows that if we take these things to be normal, then I don't think we're normal ourselves.
His recent body of work, colorful, has a lot of inscriptions on them that speak to the feelings of many people. Those they choose to voice out, their silent groanings and dreams that have been cut short.
The key thing I try to do with my work is to deconstruct human feelings, or what it means to be human, to the very, very basics. And that just means me not trying to create figurative paintings or work that is that seems closer to reality, but what I try to identify are the emotions. And then if you can identify those emotions, what it does is that it highlights what's common between me, you, and everyone else, as against painting a man or a woman. What you see are figures, and then you can now say, okay, you know what, I have this feeling that this is what this is, and then you can actually bring yourself into the painting.
To provide more insight about these human emotions he has revealed on canvas, the artist explains some of the images on display and all the body of work titled in Pidgin English, which convey the message better.
For this entire body of work, everything is titled in Pidgin, because when you think about a crazy person, I don't think, maybe it's me, but I don't think that anybody considers that speaks about it in pure English. You're just like, oh, Christmas they pass, or or something like that. So I've titled all the works in Pidgin. The first one down the road there is titled Nobody Holy You. So when I think about how we chart the course of our days, so it's determined by like sunlight and sunsets, daybreak and evenings, right? Sunrise and sunsets, yeah. And then the sun is the commonality between the two of them. And what I've done with that is to sort of depict sunrise on one end, sunset on the other end, and then put a figure as against putting the sun. And then to ask us, like, the characters that we form our ideologies on, who are they? Have we actually interrogated their motives? How do we accept these people to be who we want to create or enable the values that we now take to be ours? And I think it's very important that everybody sort of questions how they've come to be who they are and the values that we seem to have as people. And that's very much from my upbringing. I had a father who would always say, are you thinking about why you think about the things you think about? And I think that that's very, very important for everybody. You must learn to interrogate things.
What makes this particular body of work different is in his exploration of other mediums as opposed to his usual techniques. So we have text, which is quite true in Joseph's works, because Joseph usually expresses his figures in a simple line, and he likes this idea of how a line can communicate various things. And with him, he's not just looking at the line, he's looking at representation with the face. But in this particular scenario, he's introducing things like text, things like colors. Like he has a different, which I told him, a different color polychromy scheme that is going on in this work. So it's quite different from his previous bodies of work, which I'm very excited for, because the way he plays with the colors, it's a bit ingenious to see someone use colors in the way that you know that the person can make use of those sort of colors.
This work is truly, it's almost borderline, it's protest art. Like it's almost not artistic, but I mean, obviously it's art, but the colors, the motifs, the message is very clear. It is clear commentary on the state of affairs, if you would, about Nigeria today. All the dissatisfaction, the buildup of unrest, the questions that we have asked for many years that are still unanswered are very clearly and starkly depicted in his work.
If you go back in history, I'm half Edo, and then you think about Bini art, and then what it's always sought to represent the idea of a thing as against being very, very true to life in terms of how you capture the figure. So I'm proud of that part of my history. I think I'm telling that in a modern way, or in a way that is accessible to the time I live in. So much of my inspiration comes from that, and I hope that I'm actually doing doing some sort of justice to the history that I've come from, and I hope I'm actually telling the stories that need to be told.
The artist believes that how people interact ends up forming the way they are. But if the value system is better, then ultimately, this will reflect in the world, which will become a better place.
Well, not everyone can go solo like Joseph, but they can have their day in the sun by going to our Arthouse on Facebook page. And these are the works of art you sent this time around. The great thing about the works of art you sent this week is that they are celebrating the men in our lives. Let's begin with this one called Happy Father's Day. It is an oil painting on canvas done by Dari Pupola. Then Stephen Pius is showing us his father with his charcoal and graphite pencil on card. Then this pen on paper work by SMDH is called Our Heroes Past. Ramon Thiani has this charcoal on paper work called My Hero. Then Richard Okikiola is capturing the governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, with this charcoal and graphite on cardboard work he calls Tell Yourself You Can Do It. Then Olufemi Adedeji uses this digital art to refer to his father as the hunter, the one who brings home the bacon. Then Eyitayo Alagbe has this charcoal and acrylic on canvas piece, which he calls Babatunde Meditate. Rashid Bello is remembering the thespian and person that has been regarded as the father of Nigerian theatre, Hubert Ogunde, with this pen on paperwork. Then this free pen illustration work done by Leko Dairo is called Happy Father's Day. And for those intending fathers, the first step is to propose to someone so that she can say yes. And Yomi Davis captures that with this oil on canvas piece. And those are the works of art you sent in this week. Thank you so much for sending them in, and we encourage you to keep them coming. Coming up on the program, there were a lot of dreams cut short or realized due to the pandemic. This artist captures it all in his exhibition. We'll show you details of that in a moment. Join us again.
An artist has only his dreams. He has no power.
We have another solo exhibition. This one is called Dreams, Disruptions and Actualities by So Sen at the Third Pyramid Art Center, Lagos.
The dreams, disruptions and actualities in society are presented by contemporary artist So Sen in his solo exhibition at the Thought Pyramid Art Center, Lagos.
Basically in life we have dreams and we have destructions during the dreams that we have and the actualities. So we dream, trying to make those dreams come to actualities. There are definitely disruptions. So the artist is bringing just three things, the three things that we go through before we have actualities into life in his art pieces.
When I started painting, I was more interested in creating images that would just excite me. But as I progressed, I sort of became more reflective about life. Like, when things happen, I begin to look at it critically. What does it mean? And what meaning can I sort of get from this, or what lesson can I use to portray so that when people see it, they will be able to learn from it. So for me in painting now, it's more of a tool to reflect, to translate how I feel about my society.
He captures the complexities of the human existence in the works presented in this exhibition, which is an extension of the artist's practice that explores the highs and lows of life.
It's so much about my practice that is hinged on the exploration of the human experience, the complexities that surrounds the human experience. But for this exhibition, two things appear to be key: vulnerability and adaptability. How humans sort of transcend from one situation to the other. I've been able to reference personal experiences that are somehow personal, but I think they are communal too. Like, we all go through some of these things. I've been able to talk about issues like the COVID, the lockdown experience that we had, and issues of resilience too, of how we struggle to live, to exist, despite the situations we find ourselves in.
In his over 20 images displayed, this contemporary artist raises many questions, which is a reflection of his existential dilemma.
There are other issues of vulnerability. And vulnerability is so much about we showing up as how we are, as humans, or maybe being vulnerable in the face of power. So in that direction, I've been able to critique issues around systems, issues around governance too.
The artist wants the viewer to have a sense of our shared identity through the different encounters we all go through in this journey called life.
It's my encounter that I had with a government official, and it sort of reminded me of how our systems are quite watery, in the sense that this is somebody who called me for a meeting, and I sat and I waited for 3 good hours, and he came in oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even know that I told you to sit down here and wait for me. Aside that was not the first time I was coming to that same office. The other time I came around and I saw the elevator around 11 a.m. Elevator opened, and I saw young men playing draft in the government station in the morning. So that setting the setting and the encounter sort of reminded me of systems, how dysfunctional sometimes they could be. You know, how we just don't care. That's why we have this feeling of unsteadiness. But people who operate in spaces like that, they feel good. They feel like they're in their habitat, like a fish in water, like it's just moving and it's just fine.
The works here today have blown me away. Like, I don't expect anything less from Sosen. If you follow Sosen, you know that he's one to produce awesome pieces. This exhibition, I'm glad that he has brought it to Lagos, because we have been anticipating this for a very long time, and I'm happy to be part of it.
Sosen is an amazing artist. As you can see, his style is different from your usual. Some people might want to call it a surreal painting because, like, you don't literally see the figures immediately when you see the artworks. It feels like they are hidden inside the artworks. But I love his style of work, and the way he uses his knife. The strokes of the knife are amazing pieces. So Sosen is an amazing piece, and people should watch out for him.
What Define the Odds talks basically so much about the resilient spirit of humans, of whatever or situation they find themselves in. They stand and they sort of, some bow actually, others actually stand and they pull through. So I referenced myself in that painting in the sense that I found myself in situations in life where I feel like I should escape, but somehow I just stand there. Whatever feels like it's consuming me, I just stand and embrace it.
This contemporary artist who lives and plies his artistic trade in Abuja has held many exhibitions and has an MFA in painting from Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, Kaduna State.
Amazing. Creators are not slowing down at all. But let's check out what to expect the next time you tune in.
Coming up on the next edition of the program. More artists are going solo. From this female artist, Jacqueline Suwari, who is no stranger to Arthouse, we'll see her recent works at the Retro Africa Gallery, Abuja. For that and more, tune in next time.
Your Arthouse experience doesn't have to end when the show is not on television. Interact with us on our various social media platforms. See any edition of Arthouse on our website or YouTube page. Join our very interactive Facebook page by joining the group on Arthouse on Channels. We're everywhere.
That's the program for today, the last one for the month of June, and it's been awesome seeing artists going solo. It's a lot of work, you know, to stand alone and for an exhibition especially, but creators are not flustered. Nice to see that. And you can catch up with that and their creations by checking out Arthouse on YouTube. That's our YouTube page. We encourage you to like and share it so more people can see these lovelies and know the wonderful world of the arts. I'm Melinda Akinlami, asking you to stay safe and keep being creative.